Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual JForex, we will see the linear regression angle indicator, its uses, its functionality, and how to deploy it on the Visual JForex platform developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA to build an automated trading algorithmic setup so that we can relax and enjoy a laid back life, whereas our work is being done by the automated system. But of course, the key concern is that we should have a profitable algorithm first, and to do that, to build that, we will have to rely on these various indicators. So far we have seen Bill Williams indicators, then we moved on to the moving average indicators, and now it's the turn of mathematical indicators. In yesterday's session we had seen the linear regression, its uses, and how we can use that indicator on the Visual JForex platform. Today it's the turn of linear regression angle. We will see what it is about and how we can use it. Let's move to the Visual JForex board. Here you can add the various indicators and other components as per your requirement to build an automated trading setup. These are the start points: on candle, on tick, and trade event. The linear regression angle is simply the difference between the right and the left edges of the regression, and that is divided by the period for the regression, the calculation for which we have done the regression analysis, and then we get the linear regression angle. Let's add this linear regression angle indicator block. So here we got this indicator block. We can use any or all the three start points for our setup. Preferably you should be using only one. It kinds of mixes the setup, but if you want to use that you can, but still I would say that you should try to see which start point serves your purpose well. All these three start points differ from one another in various aspects. We have already seen that, and depending on your requirement you can choose this start point. Now coming to the linear regression angle, this is the indicator. Here now we are not really getting this information here even if we click on the info block. So I would say that if you need how it is calculated, the exact formula, then you will have to do some search on the internet and you will of course get the answer for the formula. For us, that calculation will be done by the automated setup, so we don't really need to be worried about how it is calculated. But still, for understanding purpose, as I said, it is simply the difference between the right and the left angle of the regression, and that is divided by the number of period. So here we get that value. Now we have to define on which instrument we want to use this setup, so that instrument should be the default instrument of choice. Then coming to the time period is for the candlestick. If you want to use 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 seconds, or like longer time frames like 4 hourly, daily, or weekly, we can use any of it. In today's setup, let us stick with the hourly time frame. It is always up to you what is the time frame which is going to serve your purpose best. Let us also add the linear regression angle indicator on the chart so that it will be easier for us to oops, I think I have mistakenly added. We want linear regression angle, and here it should be somewhere. Okay, here it is. Here now let us first understand its function, how we can use this indicator for our determination of which trade to go for, whether the underlying instrument is in the bullish phase or in the bearish phase, which which is of crucial importance while designing an algorithmic setup. So here the linear regression angle is fairly easy to understand. It is basically the value ranging from 0 to 1 or 0 to minus 1, and on the positive side, higher the value, stronger is the underlying trend, and on the negative side, lower the value is stronger the bearish trend. And then we can even use this analogy of when the the output value for the linear regression angle rises from negative territory to positive territory. That can be considered as a sign of starting of the bullish trend, and vice versa. When the value dips in the negative territory from positive territory, we can count that as a sign of trend change on the bearish side. So this way we can use this linear regression angle, and as I said, it gives us the idea of initial stages of the trend, as well as we can see that whenever there has been a good run on the higher side, then this linear regression angle value starts to fall. That can be considered, that can be construed as an weakening of the trend. So whenever you see that output values are in the positive territory but they have started to decline, that means the trend is weakening. And when the linear regression output values are in the negative territory, and then from there onwards the values start to rise, that will mean the weakening of the bearish trend. So that way we can use this indicator to help us guide in our endeavor of trading with the trend and making most of the moments. Now let us go back on the Visual JForex board. So here we have to define these parameters. We have now chosen the hourly time frame. The look back period is going to be dependent on what you want to do, what is your purpose, how you want to design the algorithm. When the shift is 0, you get the current value, current output for this linear regression angle. When the look back period is like say 5 or 10, so that much amount of time we will be going back in time, and at that point in time, whatever is the output value, that will be fetched for further utilization by the system. Time period, you can choose this time period, and it can be different. Now the default value is 14, but you can always make changes. Suppose if you want to use 50, you can do that. If you want to use 30, you can do that. Let us see how it shapes our linear regression output value when we change the time period. So here we change this to 50. Okay, so as you can see, we have this linear regression angle output, which is a lot smoother than what we were seeing when we were using the time period of 14. And here the value has not dipped in the negative territory for quite a while now after this 12th August phase, and then it started to rise, and from there on it has hold well in the bullish territory. And even here you can see that the momentum is fairly strong as the regression angle, linear regression angle values are still on the rise. So you have to see, you have to experiment and see what is the setup which is likely to prove more profitable, and act accordingly. Of course, here also the same analogy can be applied. Whenever the value starts to rise and enter bullish territory from bearish territory, that can be taken as a trend change, as had happened somewhere here. And in prior cases, when the output value fell from positive territory to negative territory, we had the initiation of the bearish trend. So we can use this linear regression angle fairly well, and in multiple ways we can do the comparison, or we can try to get involved whenever the fresh trend initiation is there. So that way we can deploy these linear regression indicator block with the customized input values, and depending on the customization of these input values we get the output values. And as I tried to explain on the chart, we can use these output value in multiple ways to do the comparison, to identify the trend change, or simply to see if the trend is still strong, is on the rise, or now it is entering into a decline phase. So in multiple ways, this linear regression angle is going to come handy. Now moving on to the calculation side, on which price the calculation is done goes on to cast an huge impact on the output value, and that's why we have to be careful on which side we want the calculation to be done. And coming to the applied price also has large impact on the linear regression angle output values. So here when we change the applied price, wait a minute, so here we should be able to see the linear regression angle output value, and then we have to edit coming to the closing price, and pay attention here on the lower side. As soon as I change the applied price, we get different output values for the linear regression angle. Let us again change this to the low price. To some extent the value has changed for the linear regression angle. The change is not too significant, but still whenever we are doing comparison or similar sort of use of linear regression angle, I would advise that you try to have both these settings on the same side, so that it will be easier for you to build and then see if it's working or not, do the extensive testing as well. So that's it from my side for today's session, and I hope you have been able to understand the functions of the linear regression angle, and you will try out your hand on this platform provided by the Dukascopy Bank SA. See you tomorrow, guys. Till then, have fun. Goodbye.